Hello, and welcome to my seminar presentation regarding the social justice issue of bullying. Social justice refers to fairness and equality amongst people. It is the appreciation of diversity and recognition that humanity is the one thing we all have in common, and therefore have the right to equitable treatment and distribution of resources regardless of gender, race, age, religion, or disabilities. Social justice is an important aspect to consider in an educator's role to ensure that they can successfully cater for a diverse range of students and provide a safe and supportive environment in which learning can occur. Bullying has existed for as long as anyone can remember. The term bully was first used in 1693 when referring to someone who hurt another human being by use of force or coercion. However, it was not until 1970 that bullying began to be recognised as a significant issue. The issue of bullying still remains today, and in some ways it is more prominent than ever, particularly with the use of social media and mobile devices that are actively being used as ways to attack or ridicule others. Bullying is an important social justice issue because it encompasses everything that social justice goes against. It is the act of a human being humiliating or discriminating against another individual based upon difference. This issue can severely affect a student's social and emotional well-being and, in turn, impact their ability to learn. This then affects an educator's ability to successfully teach every student in their classroom. The Australian National Teaching Standards recognise creating a safe and supportive learning environment as one of the 7 key standards for successful teaching and learning. Ignoring this issue within the classroom would result in a misconduct of this teaching standard. So what is bullying? Bullying has many forms which include physical abuse, emotional abuse, exclusion, intimidation, and harassment of others. Bullying can occur in groups, face-to-face interactions, or through social media sites and mobile phone devices. How does bullying affect people, and who does it affect? Bullying can significantly affect the way in which a student views themselves, essentially impacting their social and emotional well-being. Social and emotional well-being, also recognised as mental health, refers to an individual's ability to control their emotional responses, thoughts, and behaviours to engage in social and professional contexts, to maintain relationships, and to confront challenges of everyday life in a positive manner. Students that are constantly subjected to bullying often have little to no self-esteem due to the effects that bullying has on them as an individual. The short-term damages from bullying include anger, anxiety, feelings of isolation, loss of sleep and appetite, becoming withdrawn from social situations and activities, having suicidal thoughts, and possibly developing a fear of coming to school and decreases in the academic performance. The long-term effects of bullying include, but are not limited to, depression, difficulties in trusting others, poor opinions of themselves due to lack of self-worth, avoiding all social situations, constantly referring to themselves as a victim, developing a mental illness, and possibly resulting in an individual committing suicide. Victims are not the only people affected by bullying. Bystanders are also affected due to the fear that it will start happening to them, and therefore they let it happen. They can also incur guilt about not acting upon the situation or feel pressure to join in the bullying to ensure they are not seen as weak and that they do not become the perpetrator's next target. Families are also affected when bullying occurs due to the lack of understanding as to why their child becomes victim to such behaviour and what they can do to assist their child in removing the problem. Parents also struggle with the changes they see in their child due to the bullying occurring. The bully is also affected because they are highly more likely to involve themselves in negative behaviours such as fighting, underage drinking, stealing, and lack of participation in school, which can result in poor grades. So why does someone bully someone in the first place? There are a number of reasons behind why a child bullies another child. These reasons could include social issues, family issues, cultural reasons, environmental influences, or personal history. Often these issues again relate to social and emotional well-being. A bully may feel powerless or unimportant in a home or school environment and feel the need to regain that power or feeling of self-worth through victimizing an individual that appears weaker than they are in hopes to make themselves feel better. So what do the experts say? A recent study conducted with 20,000 students in Australian schools aged 8 to 14 completed a survey about bullying. The data showed that 1 in 4 students have reported being bullied in both primary schools and high school. Teasing was reported as the main cause of bullying and more frequent amongst Year 5 and Year 8 students. Results also showed that peers of bullied students are present in 87% of bullying instances, majority of which are bystanders who do nothing to support or assist the victim. However, these are only the reported statistics. Unfortunately, with the introduction of social media and mobile phone devices, bullying is no longer left at the school gates to resume the next school day, but can and does continue in the 4 walls of a victim's home. Estimated computer use equates to around 13 hours per week for an average Australian student. Lisa Cornish from News Corp Australia reports that the popular use of social media sites where children post nasty and inappropriate things about other students has resulted in bullying being the key issue affecting students' daily lives. Many ask the question, if bullying is such a problem, then why does it still occur? One of the main responses to this question is that bullying is just a part of life, and that it is something children need to learn to deal with in order to be tough enough to face the real world when they leave school. But that's just it. Children are not being educated in how to handle these situations or the emotional ramifications that come from being a victim of bullying. Due to the nature of bullying itself, most victims stay quiet and therefore the bullying continues to get worse, as do its effects. It also may come down to the fact that a number of adults do not know how to deal with the issue because they were brought up with the viewpoint that bullying is a rite of passage and therefore tell their children to shrug it off. However, it is this thought pattern that creates a vicious cycle and sends a message to children that this type of behaviour is okay. So what can be done about the issue? A plan for beginning teachers. The plan being discussed is that of a prevention plan that will help to assist classroom teachers in developing a safe and supportive environment that is a bully-free zone. The first step in the prevention plan is for the teacher to build background knowledge by familiarising themselves with the issue of bullying itself and be aware of the impacts it can have on the students in their classroom if it is left unattended. They also need to ensure that they make themselves aware of the warning signs and refer to an observation checklist that can be used if they feel a child is being bullied. This will also help to document evidence that could be used should any serious issues arise and legal proceedings take place. Educators should also familiarise themselves with the school's bullying policy to assist them in developing a practical classroom policy of their own that can be easily referred to by other staff, students and parents. A copy of this policy along with an information pamphlet should be handed out to parents at the beginning of the school year to ensure that families understand the seriousness of the issue and that a zero tolerance message is made clear. The first step of the prevention plan within the classroom is building positive relationships amongst students and their peers. This can be done through getting to know you exercises and team building activities. The next stage of this plan is for the educator to teach students about bullying and assist in developing the skills that will allow them to manage situations in a proactive manner. The teacher would then start by explaining that everybody is special and have their students brainstorm the ways in which we are all different and how those differences make us all unique and allows the classroom they've entered to be an exciting and wondrous place for learning to occur. The teacher should model expectations of positive behaviour by giving examples and non-examples with consequences for those actions for students to understand the rules of engaging in the classroom in a positive and respectful manner. Educators must then teach students about what a bully is and what bullying looks like. They must also ensure that students understand that this type of behaviour is not acceptable and that their actions have consequences. This can be done through reading stories that outline traits of a bully, providing examples, and facilitating discussions about how bullying might make people feel and the consequences that occur as a result of bullying itself. A good way to show the effects of bullying is to ask them to draw a picture that represents who they are. Once completed, students are asked to scrunch the piece of paper up and then try to return the piece of paper back to its original form. Most students realise that they are unable to do this. The educator would then go on to apply the effects of bullying in relation to the squashed piece of paper, explaining that their negative actions towards others can have the same effect as when squashing that piece of paper. As the literature states, many people victimised by bullying become former shells of themselves due to the torment or ridicule of another individual. This activity allows students to physically see damage occurring, damage that you cannot automatically see occurring inside another human being. Once students understand what the issue is, what it looks like, and the negative effects it can have on an individual, they then need to learn about social and emotional well-being in order to develop the necessary skills to deal with challenging situations like bullying. Social and emotional learning in an educational context focuses on developing skills under 5 broad categories. These include self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills and decision-making. Each of these categories is designed to assist students in developing different skills. These skills include learning to recognise how their emotions and thoughts affect their behaviour, how to regulate their emotions, thoughts and behaviour in a range of different contexts, viewing situations from a number of different perspectives, empathising with others, learning to establish and maintain positive relationships with a diverse range of people, and making considerate choices that demonstrate respect. Embedding social and emotional learning into the classroom should enable students to develop a better sense of themselves, others, and the school environment. As a result, students should engage in pro-social behaviours with pupils, reduce their emotional distress, limit conflict, and improve academic performance. Developing social and emotional management strategies will also assist students in building personal resilience. Resilience can be defined as the ability to approach situations positively and overcome adversity. This is often a skill where students lack when dealing with bullying. This is due to the fact that they do not have the skills to recognise that the issue is not based on who they are as a person, but is more about the person doing the bullying. Developing these skills will assist students in realising this and dealing with their emotions that aim to lessen the effects the bullying has on them long term. One method I use in the classroom, particularly with younger years, is that of bucket filling. Have You Filled a Bucket Today is a book that explains that everybody in the world has an invisible bucket. Its purpose is to hold a person's good feelings and good thoughts about themselves. People fill other people's buckets by saying or doing nice things, but they can also dip into another person's bucket by saying or doing mean and hurtful things. The book explains that those people who dip into other people's buckets, or bullies, cannot make themselves happy. The only way to make yourself happy and another person happy is by being kind towards others. This encourages positive relationships within the classroom by focusing on positive aspects about individuals. It also shows children who bully others that this type of behaviour will not achieve their need for self-worth, but only makes the situation worse. I have my students fill out bucket filling notes that provide individuals with positive aspects about themselves, and we share this at the end of every school day. This is to ensure that the children feel valued, respected, and safe within the classroom, not only by their teacher, but by their peers. Tackling the issue of bullying is an ongoing process. Unfortunately, educators have little control over what occurs outside the classroom. Therefore, it is important to expose students to as much positive behaviour as they can. It is important that the school also encourages positive behaviour initiatives to send out a message that positive behaviours are recognised and rewarded. You can evaluate the success of the prevention plan by asking students to fill out surveys regarding the issue of bullying, what they like about their classroom environment, and what they dislike in order to make the necessary changes to improve the learning environment and ultimately the well-being of students and student outcomes. Surveys can also be sent out to parents to receive feedback. This allows parents to communicate things that may be undetected in the classroom. Having an open door policy also sends the message that you care about what happens to your students and that you're willing to address any issues or concerns parents might have. The strength of this plan is that teachers are focusing on educating teachers, students, and parents about what bullying is, how it occurs, and the consequences and effects of bullying. This part of the plan is particularly important as the literature illustrates that it is the knowledge behind the issue that the majority of stakeholders lack, along with the necessary skills to manage the outcomes or emotions that are experienced due to the effects of bullying. The weak areas of this plan is that the social and emotional learning aspects can be quite time-consuming, and often the classroom timetable does not allow for these learning opportunities due to the key learning area curriculum requirements. Developing or implementing a positive initiative plan such as bucket filling is easy to do and takes 5 minutes at the beginning and end of the school day. Students can start the day by being reminded to say and do nice things for others through the bucket filler pledge. This reminds students to focus on positive interactions with others and encourages that particular behaviour. At the end of the day, students are then recognised for their positive choices and are rewarded through having their achievements read out at the end of the school day. This makes for a positive, harmonious environment where children feel safe and valued in the classroom, and in turn allows for successful teaching and learning to occur, and limits bullying because the room is full of supportive and encouraging people. This then extends out into the school community because other educators take notice of the choices that students make and then may make adaptations to implement their own positive initiatives in their classroom, ultimately promoting positive interactions across the entire school. The plan is less likely to work if only 1 or 2 steps are taken and no positive initiatives are put in place to support and encourage positive choices. Through engaging in this assignment, I have learnt more about what I value in terms of children's well-being in a school context. I have also extended my knowledge about bullying and the impact it has on students' social and emotional well-being, and in turn, their ability to engage in the curriculum and social aspects of school. I have also gained further insight into how the profession extends beyond simply teaching the curriculum, but its relevance to social justice issues. Through researching and conducting my seminar about bullying, I realised that educators can encounter difficult issues but may not have the skills or resources to aid them in rectifying them in their classrooms. The action research cycle required me to consider how I could plan to rectify or deal with the issue of bullying in a classroom context. I had to consider the practicality of my plan in relation to the issue itself and how educators could implement it in their own classrooms. I had to consider the strengths and weaknesses of the plan, which were difficult to determine due to the plan not being actioned in a classroom other than my own. However, the consideration of these aspects in the analysis stage has allowed me to confirm my strong belief in reflection being an essential part of the teaching process. It is with reflection of programs or plans in place when dealing with social justice issues that educators can improve strategies to ensure they relate directly to the students they come into contact with and ultimately improve outcomes for those students.